Okay, good morning, class.
Good morning.
I'll say it again, good morning.
Good morning.
I hope everyone has a chance to sit up. I want you to pay a lot of attention to the lesson we're going to go through. Again, my name is Mr. Williams. I come here to Glover this morning to teach you a lesson on making connections. Just a little bit about me. I grew up and taught for 6 years in Chicago, and I just graduated from Harvard University with a degree in school leadership. So I look forward to continuing my work in schools, helping students, like you all, achieve the best that they can in life. So again, the lesson we're going to be talking about today is making connections. Now, connections are everywhere in the world. They're in your classroom, they're at home, they're in places that you haven't even seen or thought of before. Can I have one person just briefly, maybe in 2 or 3 sentences, tell me about what they wrote about in their journal this morning as far as making decisions? Just by us, you can raise your hand. Yes? Cutting your hair and not cutting, or not cutting your hair. Explain how you made that decision. And do you think that was the right choice? Okay. So this prompt is actually like no mystery, because when I think about making a decision, you're going to make decisions every day of your life, every second, every minute. I made a decision to come out here to a new place to go to school, and the connection I made with that is with a book that I think you've read already too. It's called The Watsons Go to Birmingham. Raise your hand if you've read this book. Good. Put your hands down. I'm going to call on one person just to give me a quick synopsis or summary about what that book was about. So can I have Molly? Where's Molly? Briefly explain.
So this kid goes to Birmingham to meet his grandmother, and he's afraid of all this stuff. And he sees this monster.
Okay. Would anyone else like to answer that? Yes.
Well, so it's about this kid with his big brother, and his big brother is going to Birmingham because their parents, he's like always doing really bad stuff, so their parents want him to go to Birmingham so he can like really know like what the world is, and so he can be like disciplined by his grandmother. And so when they're driving him to Birmingham, they decide to stay there like as a family just for like the whole summer. And then they go, and then they faced discrimination and segregation because there's one time when his sister was going to church, to Sunday school, people were dropping bombs on them. And then they just learned a lot about life there, and then yeah, they just stayed there.
Great, thank you. Does anyone have one more thing to add, maybe? Something that you left out or something you would just think would make it a little bit more clear or succinct?
His brother is like really bad, and
Okay. Great. So using that, and thank you for those responses, I want to talk about 3 different types of connections you can make. You can make a connection from text to self. What I mean by text is the book that you're reading, or the magazine, or whatever the text is that you're reading. You can connect it to yourself in your own life. You can also make a text-to-text connection. So I can take the book that I'm reading now and then connect it to the books that you're reading in your literature circles right now. And then we can also make text-to-world connections. Now, text-to-world connection is kind of more vague, but the thing with a text-to-world connection is if you think about anything going on in the world, it may apply to where you're at or where anyone else lives. We have different cultures and everything, things that are applicable to both. So you can make a text-to-world connection in that aspect. Are there any questions on the 3 different type of connections you can make? Raise your hand if you have any questions. Thumbs up if you understand. Down, middle if you're kind of so-so. We got some in the middle. Does anyone who has their thumb in the middle want to ask a question? Maybe we can clarify. So we have one question about making connection from the text to the world. And I preface that by saying it is kind of vague, but hopefully through the lesson, when I give you an example, we'll recheck in and see where you're at now. Any other questions? Come over here. So a lot of times with making connections, what I do when I'm reading a text is I write down dialogue from the book. Can anyone tell me what dialogue is? Yes.
When the people in the book are talking.
What people in the book are talking about. Good. Anyone else? Who had their hand up over here? Yes.
When they're like talking or thinking or something like that.
Good. It could be talking or thinking. That's good. Yes.
Anything that they're in the book. What they're saying.
Good. It could be anything in the book, really, because it's all text. One more.
It's like just simply a continuous narrative. So it's just the people talking, like a discussion, or it's either that or it's just the story of someone's life in the book.
Okay.
So
Could,
the people talking about it.
could it be characters in the book possibly like reading another text, maybe a magazine, and quoting what they're reading there? Could it be that?
Yeah.
So good. It could be text can be many things. So what I've done to sort of like model what I want you to do in today's activity, what you see while you were away, I've placed Post-it cards on your desk. And while you're reading your literature circle books, which we'll get to next, you're going to actually like write down some of the dialogue, including the page number where you found it. And then we're going to explain what we're going to do with that dialogue later in the lesson when you're in your reader's response journals. So let's activate some more prior knowledge about the book, The Watsons Go to Birmingham. The first piece of dialogue I wrote down was, you know Birmingham is a good place. And I don't just mean the weather either. The life is slower, the people are friendlier. So I'll read it again. You know Birmingham is a good place, and I don't just mean the weather either. The life is slower, the people are friendlier. So I'm going to call on one more person right now to kind of like give me context behind what is happening in the story at that point. So right now I want to call on Sam Jacobson.
Birmingham is good.
Birmingham is good. Can someone tell me where exactly, proximity-wise, in the country, where Birmingham is?
It's down south.
It's in the south. Alabama, the state of Alabama. Good. Okay, anyone else? So with this, I've decided to make this a text-to-self connection. How is it a text-to-self connection? Because in reading this in the book, the people are moving to a new place. And as you said, it's in the south, it's in Alabama. Now, before the lesson, I gave you an introduction to you about where I'm from. Where am I from? And I moved out here when?
Last year. 6 years.
7 years.
No, at the beginning of this year.
Oh.
So how is this a text-to-self connection that I'm making to the book? Yes.
Because you're moving to a new place?
Right, I've moved to a new place just like the people in this story have done what? So would that make a text-to-self connection, a solid text-to-self connection?
Yeah.
So what do we do during a text-to-self connection?
Will you make a connection to your own life?
Okay, you're going to make a connection to your own life.
You relate the event in the book to something that happened.
Exactly, good. The next type of connection is a text-to-text. I guess I should have told Mama that I really appreciate her helping me get my friend back. So this is on page 46 of the book. And this made me think of another book I've read. Raise your hand if you ever heard of or read the book The Battle of Jericho by Sharon Draper. The Battle of Jericho. So we have one person that's read that book. Good. Can you give us a quick synopsis about that
I
book?
haven't read it, I just heard it.
Okay, well I've read it, so I'll share. The Battle of Jericho is about a group of middle schoolers. So they're in a place where you're about to be in middle school. And what happens is one of the main characters is trying to discover who he is, and he has a relationship with a young lady in the classroom. And he said, during the point of the plot, he says something really mean about the young lady. And the young lady decides not to be his friend. It isn't until he talked with his mother, until she gave him advice about how to get this friend back. So again, here, what type of connection am I making? Class?
Text.
Good, text to text. So what have I done in text to text connection? Let me see who I